Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Eye on Port. It is proudly brought to you by GOIL Company Limited, Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, West Blue Consulting, and Ghana Community Network Services. This week, the KETA Port featured prominently in the speech that was delivered by His Excellency the President at the Hogbe Festival in Anglo. Also, our own sponsor, GOIL, has been doing some wonderful things. All of that in news. Take a listen and we'll be back.
Ghana's leading oil marketing company, GOIL, continues to demonstrate its patriotism to the social development of the country and has, as a result, donated 1,000 hospital beds to the Ministry of Health for onward distribution across public hospitals in the country. Handing over the beds, the CEO and Group MD of GOIL, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, revealed that the donation, which includes delivery beds, children beds, and normal hospital beds, all fitted with durable mattresses, is intended to alleviate the no-bed syndrome in Ghanaian public hospitals.
They expect to ease conditions at the various public hospitals and help reduce the incidence of patients sleeping on the floor of some of the hospitals and to help kill the phenomenon of no beds.
He revealed that in 2017, a similar donation was made to the Ministry of Health, as well as many other significant contributions to the health sector.
Our support to health institutions in particular has been crucial of GOIL's corporate social responsibility. GOIL was, for instance, a major contributor to the building of the Baby and Child Center at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, spearheaded by the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Kufuor, and which was inaugurated last year.
Receiving the beds on behalf of the country, a Deputy Minister of Health, Tina Gifty Nayele Mensah, asked other corporate entities to emulate the generosity of GOIL to contribute to the development of healthcare in Ghana.
They should also come to our aid because they all have social responsibilities, and these are some of the things that when you do, your citizens or your clients also have at least something out of what they give out to those various companies, philanthropies. They're asking them to come to our aid.
She urged the public to patronize GOIL products, as the indigenous oil marketing company will channel some of its profits into such laudable activities which benefits all Ghanaians.
And like I said, the KETA Port featured prominently in the speech delivered by His Excellency the President at the Hogbe Festival in Anglo.
President Nana Akufo-Addo has revealed that construction of the KETA fish landing site will commence in December 2019. In a speech read on his behalf by the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, at this year's Ogbechocho Festival of the People of Anglo, the President said the month of November 2019 will be used for community engagement with the people of Anglo ahead of the construction works.
The President is committed to fulfilling his promises to the people of Anglo and meeting the desire of the people in getting a fishing harbor and a port. As you may be aware, the process for the construction of the KETA Port is ongoing. A director for the KETA Port was appointed and introduced to the Womefia and his council. The director is supposed to speed up the procurement processes towards early construction works to begin.
The President added that government is working assiduously in meeting the desire of the people of Anglo in getting a fishing harbour and a port, and therefore revealed that the director of KETA Port, Dr. Alexander Edusei, is leading ongoing processes for the construction of the KETA Port.
The Honourable Minister for Transport was not too long ago in KETA concerning the construction of the KETA fish landing site. In November this year, there would be community engagement on the project, and in December we shall cut the sod for construction to begin.
The president said the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has given an assurance to carry out some works on the KETA Lagoon soon.
Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is not happy at all. I'm not too sure exactly why, but this week they had some conversation and had some issues with the foreigners who are engaging in illegal trading when it comes to illegal petty trading. That's how they put it. Let's take a listen exactly what their concerns are in this full story. When we come back, we'll engage GUTA.
The unionized groups of the Ghana Union of Traders Association and the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association have served a one-week ultimatum to the retail community of foreigners selling without permit in the Ghanaian market to vacate the country's trading space, else they'll be met with aggression. The caution, which was characterized with agitations according to the unionized groups, follows an accumulated level of insubordination by foreign retailers in Ghana to the country's laws, which do not give room for non-citizens to do retail business in the Ghanaian market without permit.
All these things we have been going up and down with the government over this, and it has come to nothing. So at the moment, what we are saying is that if the government cannot implement the GIPC law 865, we the traders will implement the law for the government.
Section 27 of Act 865 of the GIPC law generally lays out activities that foreign investors are not permitted to invest or participate in, including the sale of goods or provision of services in a market, petty trading or hawking, or selling of goods in a stall at any place.
That law has stated the category of business that are supposed to be done by we Ghanaians, whereby foreigners cannot do those businesses. But at the moment, you'll be surprised that the same laws, the same jobs are being taken over by other people.
They accuse the foreigners of trading in substandard products at low prices, making it difficult for Ghanaians who trade in quality products to thrive.
Foreigners have taken over the shops by bargaining for higher rates and all that stuff. They bring cheaper goods into the system to sell. And the funny thing is they don't pay any VAT or any taxes to the government.
The public relations officer of the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association, Samuel Ado, cautioned the foreigners engaged in illegal retail business to stop the business or they'll be forced to abandon their trade.
We've given them the ultimatum that they should close their shops and leave our markets.
So Nana Poku, the Greater Accra Regional Secretary of GUTA, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, is with me in the studio, and to find out exactly what your concerns have been, aside what we heard in that particular piece, and then also what next, Nana. Why are you closing down the shops?
Sami, thank you for having me here, and then a very good evening to your listeners. Let me first debunk a notice that is circulating around that Ministry of Trade is in bed with GUTA, and all this agitation is the ministry that is actually, behind us. This is not true, and it can never be true. Over these years, Honorable Alan Martin has been a father, an advocator, an intervener to bring the situation to the levels where it's supposed to have actually metamorphosed, to the level where government cannot do anything. He has been a best minister for this government to have calmed us down till today.
I see.
So if I see government officials pointing hands to Ministry of Trade, actually the whole law is not under Ministry of Trade. It's under GIPC, which is directly linked to the presidency. So if there is fingers pointing, it should be pointing at Mr. Yofi Grant.
Who is pointing fingers?
Oh, that is what we are actually gathering.
No, but if you can't say that person or
those
that person
doing that,
is doing that,
those doing that, they know themselves. So I mean, let's move on.
So what then is your concern?
The concerns are very simple.
Closing down shops, why?
No, currently, what we are doing is we are educating these foreign infiltrators. That is how I'll call them.
And who are these? Because
These are Nigerians, Chinese, Pakistanis, Indians, and then some few Lebanese. These are people who are milking Ghana in so many ways. In fact,
which way and how?
I've left some of the evidence in my car because of my lateness.
Yeah.
I would have shown you evidence whereby instead of hospital supplies being given to Ghanaian companies, it is being offered to these Nigerian companies who are actually supplying these hospitals with fake, because I was there when we seized large number of fake disinfectants and so forth and so on. Looking into his books, the supply that this guy have done is quite huge, and the VAT he is paying on it is sometimes 23 cedis, sometimes 32 cedis.
So, Nana, what I want to get clear is that what is illegal about their operations that you do not want? Is it the fact that they are supplying fake product? Is it the fact that they are not paying the right taxes in your view? Is it the fact that they are not entirely supposed to operate in this country? Yeah. What's your problem?
The last one is exactly the correct one.
Okay.
We have laws, and the laws seeks to protect the indigents. There are some of the jobs that have been reserved for the indigents alone to do that. And these people have found their way through the system, and they are actually penetrating this area, which is a no-go area.
Okay. And you're saying that the law says that they are not supposed to engage in this trade, but yet they are in the market doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is why the group, Sami, this has been going on for too long. And so far as GIPC is linked to the presidency, I will use this your medium to call on the president to be a man enough and come out tomorrow and tell the populace of Ghana, tell Ghanaians whether he is for the foreigners or he is for Ghanaians who voted him to serve us. We want these areas to be known.
Because?
And he should come out clear.
But hasn't he? Have you engaged government?
No.
Have you engaged government?
He's always running around the bush.
Who?
The president.
I see. Why do you say that?
He should come out as a man and tell us that you, my people, you don't deserve this area. We will understand it.
Is it that you haven't heard from the president himself?
No,
because I'm expecting that you should have heard from the trade ministry.
He hasn't been straight. He should be straight.
What has he said that hasn't been straight?
Look, the laws is explicit. It's telling Ghanaians that that place or that area is reserved for Ghanaians.
And so what do you expect from the president?
What we expect is either he's for Ghanaians or he's for the foreigners.
Of course he's a Ghanaian and he's the president of Ghana.
He needs to come out. Because
you want to hear him speak?
Yes, it's long overdue.
Okay.
Sami, it's long overdue. Can't we have a man in this country and stand up and say, these are for my people? Every country around the globe is protecting its own. Why Ghana is actually leaving us, unattended to?
There are those who think that you are not, the Ghanaian trader is not competitive enough. And that's why there's some bit of scare. Is that, what do you say to this?
Sami, that one is another aspect of it.
But now you're dealing with the illegality.
When a Nigerian is actually taking a facility of, wait a minute, let me do my checks. I don't want to quote wrongly. Of 12.5%, the rate. Chinese is doing it at 1.5%. A Ghanaian is going for it at 26%. So if I go in for this...
In this same market?
In this same market.
I see.
Should I go for this loan and go to the market and at the same time having an invader to truncate whatever that I'm trying to do to survive?
Okay. The other aspect is this closure of borders in Nigeria. Has that got anything to do with your concerns that you are issuing ultimatum over?
80%, it has no leakage.
Okay.
But 20% have small...
Where's that connection?
Yeah, the connection is, you know, I think that one is a little bit dicey, because if I pour it out here to go against our traders who are also supplying Nigerians some of the things they need. So let me keep it. But if I come to the area of the border closure, I think Nigeria is on the path of succeeding.
Why?
That is good governance.
Why? And
we grow rice in Ghana, all right? We have arable land that can help us cultivate rice, very fine rice.
So you also want us to close our borders?
We have left this area for these Lebanese. Because Ghanaians, no, I have not seen a Ghanaian, I'm yet to see one, who have brought in a shipload of rice.
If you are not doing it and somebody wants to do it, it's business and it's market.
Sammy, we must have to eat what we grow to actually save the foreign exchange even in the country.
Why do you think this move has helped Nigeria?
The Nigerians have done it. And within these 3 months, check the economy.
What has changed?
Booming.
I see.
Their figures are changing.
Nigeria.
I'm telling you.
Just because they close the borders?
Yes, because this smuggling of rice into their market, the farmers are now getting...
It's been curtailed.
Yes, it's been curtailed. The farmers are now getting money. The handyman in Nigeria is now getting a job. So if Ghana should take a cue of what is happening there, I tell you, Ghana will change within no time.
You have given an ultimatum that, you know, these foreigners close their own shops by tomorrow. If that doesn't happen, what happens?
Oh, we see, we have to protect the name Ghana. GUTA will not do anything that will muddy the name Ghana. What we are doing right now is we are educating them. Our men will come to you, educate you with the law for you to leave the market peacefully.
And if they don't?
If they resist, there are so many ways we will handle the situation to save the name Ghana.
But non-violently?
Not violently.
Okay.
But in the same vein, common sense should tell the leaders of the country that if there is no law at all, if there were, you know, no law protecting us, why don't they believe and accept that Ghanaians must be protected if there is no law? Should common sense address this issue in our minds, that we don't have any law protecting these Ghanaians? Do
you intend to engage government from tomorrow going?
That is why we are calling, because if you take GIPC is
linked with the president.
Yes, it's
so you're calling who?
I'm calling the president.
Have you written officially, formally to presidency?
Your platform here is more than jet, the supersonic one. The president.
So you hope they've listened.
Yes.
We also hope that you do the formal thing and then write to them as well. But I wish you good luck, and we'll continue to engage and follow up this particular issue going forward. When we come back, the subject of the day, the role of the shipping lines in this country, we're going to digest and assess it in detail after the break.
Here's innovation from GOIL that takes you further. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Dear valued client, the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live to make it easy to track your consignment and know the estimated duty payable for both general goods and used vehicles. We are pleased to inform you that the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is available for download on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. This is the best opportunity for all importers and exporters to know the duty payable on every good under transaction. You can reach the team for inquiries and support by calling +233 242 435
663. Send an email to support@ghanastradinghub.com. To remain updated, kindly follow progress on the following platforms: www.facebook.com/Ghana Trade Hub, www.twitter.com/Ghana Trade Hub, and ghlinkedin.com/in/Ghana Trade Hub. Importers and exporters can download the official Ghana single window mobile app, which allows you to track your consignment conveniently and also allows you to obtain your estimated duty for general goods and used vehicles. Please spread the message to everyone importing or exporting. The Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. Download and never be cheated. This is powered by the Smart Ports project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smart Port, improving Ghana's ease of doing business.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Utiliser les ports de Tema et de Takoradi, c'est avoir un traitement rapide et sécurisé de vos marchandises diverses en conteneurs, en sac ou en vrac, ainsi que tous vos véhicules en transit. Le Ghana a construit un parking bien pavé pour tous les véhicules en transit. Une nouvelle gare frigorifique pour le stockage de la marchandise congelée en transit. Avec un nouveau centre de traitement de données construit et la mise en œuvre efficace d'un guichet unique national qui permet aux données d'être accessibles par tous les intervenants, le traitement des dossiers dans les ports du Ghana est maintenant efficace et plus efficient. Utiliser les ports du Ghana, c'est profiter des systèmes de portes électroniques et d'exploitation des terminaux, ainsi que de la réservation des navires en ligne, entraînant ainsi un parc de camions fiable pour un acheminement de vos marchandises dans les brefs délais avec un suivi satellitaire jusqu'à nos frontières.
Les femmes, à vous les honneurs.
Les ports de Tema et de Takoradi célèbrent la femme. Que les bienfaits de cette célébration apportent plus de bénédictions.
Okay, thank you very much, Solomon Anderson. He's always busy fixing his producer general activities, so don't be surprised if you see him from time to time. By the way, tomorrow, if you tune into GH1 at 8:30 p.m., Solomon will be on with the abridged version of this particular program. Also on GTV at 8:30 p.m., Solomon should be on with the abridged version of the program. You can also read a lot more about the program on Ghana Web, I should say, as well as the Business and Financial Times, their Tuesday edition. My guest this evening, Adam Imoro Ayana, is executive member, Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana. Also, Fred Esiedudate is the head of Freight and Logistics Ghana Shippers Authority. Edward Akron is a council member and immediate past executive secretary of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. Gentlemen, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you.
Good. So maybe I'll start straight with you, Mr. Ayana. The shipping lines, who are they? For those who don't know, I know you've been here, we've talked about this before, but just refresh us. Who are the shipping lines?
The shipping lines, I would say, are people who carry cargo from one point of the globe to another. And I would say, ultimately, what we do is to create opportunities for global commerce.
Okay. So your organization, for instance, involves who? The owners of the vessels and then their agents?
Both the owners and their agents. What we should know is there are different types of shipping line operations. You have the liner agents and then you have the pure third-party agents.
Okay.
So what it is the agents are here to seek the interest of the actual owners of the vessel. That is the shipping lines. Mm-hmm. That is what it is.
And how has the Ghanaian environment been for the shipping lines? How's business?
I can only say interesting. That is all I can say.
How interesting? How
interesting because we haven't moved forward. We haven't really developed the system.
We means who?
We as in Ghana. you know, when you look at our laws, our rules, and the way we look at maritime activity in general, we still have a way to go. That's what I can say. But,
advise us.
The shipping lines can only advise the policymakers and play our part. And what is our part? We'll make sure we bring the cargo safely to the ports. We'll make sure we submit the right information on the cargo that we are bringing. And all what we want is we want a quick turnaround of the vessels so that we can start making money on the sea.
But where have we gone wrong as a country? Advice?
I think it's just the mindset. Timing, cost. Timing is very important in life, you know, and what I've seen in Ghana is we really don't cost time.
I see.
And that is the beginning of all failures. If you don't cost time, then you have a challenge in everything you do. And over the period, there have been chops and changes in the industry, which does not really help. You say sometimes maybe the changes will bring improvement, but does it really? Over the period, I wouldn't say we have achieved where we want to be. But gradually, I'm sure we'll get there. Like we say in Ghana,
the area of timing, where aren't we practicing that? Because people expect that, you know, a place like the port, time should be of essence, and people should abide by time. People should be on time. They should work on time and all of that. Where are we wrong?
If I bring your cargo and I bring it in my warehouse, which we call the containers, and I bring it to the ports, you knew the cargo was coming, right? You knew that it was coming. Why would you keep it for 30 days, 40 days?
You mean the importer?
The importer. Why would you keep it for that long? For me to get my container back to send it, because that is what I trade with. You know, and if you do that, people will say, yeah, shipping lines are earning demurrage, but that is not what we are in the business for. You know, what we want is a quick turnaround of our boxes.
But you get into a contractual arrangement with your importer. Do you tell them when you expect your box or your container?
Obviously, we have contract with each customer and each shipment. There's a contract for each shipment.
And does the term state when to return?
It does state, and that is why we have something called free days. And we'll tell you that, listen, I bring your box, maybe I give you so many free days, and then after that, you know, I'll start charging you because it's an opportunity cost for me. So they know. And what we should also know is that prior to shipping, once we take your box from location A, we discuss and we agree on the terms of shipment. So you should know. And you shouldn't separate the shipper from the consignee, because the shipper and the consignee, to me, are kind of linked. Because the shipper is shipping his cargo to the consignee, and the consignee has ordered his cargo from the shipper. So the consignee knows when the cargo is coming.
For those who do not, and I know that because all of us are within the port space, when you say these terms, they come readily at hand. But for those who don't know, why are you making, what's the difference between the shipper, and then the consignee? Who are these people?
I'm in Ghana. Right now, we are predominantly talking about imports, right? So I'm in Ghana, and I order some items from wherever, Indonesia, wherever, call it whatever. And then someone over there, supplier, is going to give me or manufacture the products for me. And then a shipper, someone is going to organize these items and ship them over to me. He is the shipper.
Okay.
And the person receiving it here is the consignee.
Can the person shipping at the same time be a consignee?
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. I just wanted you to, so that those who don't get it would just get to see. So if I understand you clearly, your problem with time has to do with the importer, or the shipper and the consignee.
The importer, it's critical you talk of the importer, and also you talk of port facilities. I don't want to delve on port facilities because we all know the developments today that we have in the country. We have MPS. There who have they've developed a port, and we are all happy about it because we are all looking forward to a very more productivity, a very efficient port. And yes, there have been teething challenges, but I think we are wrapping up on productivity. So gradually, I'm sure we'll get there, and we'll get to international standards, and that'll be good for the shipping line.
That's when it comes to the time and the port facilities.
When it comes to the port facilities. Yes.
Aside the MPS that you mentioned, and that's just recent, they began just in June. Aside that, is there any any difficulty?
Yes, there are difficulties. I mean, you come to shipping lines are also connected. We also have to abide by customs rules and policies, and sometimes they keep chopping and changing.
Customs rules.
Customs rules and stuff. One of the things I heard last week, which I don't know how far is true because I haven't seen the document, but I've seen it on social media, is the fact that they have changed the auctioning rules. Although we weren't happy with auctioning rules, those have been changed, and it looks like indirectly some fraud that was happening in the system has actually been legalized with these new rules. Because, for instance, a shipper gives me his cargo or her cargo from origin, and probably the consignee has not even paid the full amount yet. So I bring the cargo in. The consignee might not have even paid me the freight, or the shipper might not have paid me the freight. And then this cargo is brought in and left, and now it's being auctioned. And we are being told that the person who imported it, who might not have paid for the freight and the cargo itself, would be given
the opportunity
to buy it again. Then I might as well bring in things and just leave it and just go for auction and
but
buy it.
that comes, the condition attached to that comes with some bit of penalty.
Which is what?
Because you're paying double the duty, and you're paying, okay, those are not paying 50%, but you're paying double the duty that you should have paid.
But why should, if I double the duty versus the actual cost of the item, can you check it out?
I don't remember that there was actual cost.
No, what I mean is, listen, what I mean is, I'm going to buy something for instance, what, $50,000.
Yeah.
I haven't paid the supplier.
Okay.
I've shipped the cargo. I haven't paid for the freight charges.
Okay.
The cargo has come. Now I haven't paid whatever charges I have to pay to the local agents. Now the containers are also kept for a long while. I haven't paid for the demurrage for holding the containers up. Then now this person is given the opportunity again, after he's punished all these people in the lane, to come and purchase the cargo and go. I mean, then we are not...
So if I get you, the double the duty disadvantage your side, because for customs, they would have secured their duty plus another times 2. However, this importer who abandoned the cargo would skip paying, for instance, your freight and then the port handling and all of that. So that's where that's the point you are trying to make.
That is the point I'm trying to make, and I think it's indiscipline, on the part, and we shouldn't just look at one aspect of shipping.
Yeah,
because we are all in this.
Which is a duty in this.
Yes,
case.
exactly.
Okay. So, Mr. Sidudate, Ghana Shippers Authority, how do you know the shipping lines?
We would say the shipping lines have been a very critical stakeholder in the import-export value chain. Okay. And to a very large extent, they've made significant contributions. And just as Ayana indicated, statistics will show that about 80+% of all of our international trade comes by sea. And so we need to give them some credit for carrying these goods safely to Ghana, and then on the other side for exports as well. So we think they're making very significant contribution in our port and shipping industry.
Okay, and if you want to assess them for the past few years that we've been using the services of shipping lines, what would it be? What's your assessment of them so far?
So far, I would say to a very large extent, they have done well. And the reason I won't say they have done well in totality is because currently we have about 23 shipping lines and agents operating in the ports, and they are operating at various levels. Okay. I mean, so you cannot paint all of them with the same brush. Okay. Some are doing excellently well. Okay. Some have challenges, some have difficulties. But thankfully, the Ghana Shippers Authority, in line with our mandate of protecting and promoting the interests of the shipper, we have instituted this quarterly meetings with them where we have engagements. And a number of the issues that come up, we bring it to the table and have some very, very interesting discussions. I think that to a large extent, this level of engagement is yielding some positive results.
Okay. And what if you can share with us, so what are some of the challenges that, for instance, has come to your table regarding the services that the lines provide, and how best you have dealt with them?
Okay. There are a number of issues. And I'll just start off with the exchange rate that is applied when importers bring in goods.
Okay.
You know, there's some handling charges, there's even demurrage. All of these things are denominated in dollars or foreign currency. And when quoted in dollars, you would have to change into CD for the importer to pay. What we found out is that even though the Bank of Ghana has given a certain exchange rate, which, you know, for which government revenue and other charges are being are used, you know, to apply, the shipping lines apply varied rates. And in almost all the cases, they are way higher than what has been given.
I see.
And you see, these are some of the things we want to engage, or we have been engaging them on. You know, the other issue is about them working on weekends. You know, thankfully now we have a port that operates 24/7, and you would find out that the shipping lines would operate 8 to 5 Monday to Friday. And so if there are things to be done over the weekend, the shipping line offices are closed. However, if the particular consignment had gone on demurrage, then the demurrage continues to count.
Including the weekends?
Including the weekends.
Interesting.
You know, one other issue that is very disturbing is even the mechanism for the return of empty containers. When containers have been taken out of the port and the goods have been taken out and you have to return the containers. The understanding is that, you know, container comes back to the port, but the mechanism for the return of the container is not clear. And so sometimes the truck driver brings the container, the security man says, I'm not detailed to take the container, or perhaps you would have done some extra days beyond the allowable period. And consequently, there is a charge that would have accrued. And so they are unwilling to take the container. So the container will stay on over the weekend to maybe some 2-3 days. And then you understand that all of these things is cost to the shipper. You know, so these are some of the issues. There is also the issue about the refund system. You know, there are issues when shippers bring in goods. These are legitimate. And, you know, like you will need to make a deposit, you know, for carrying the container out of the port. But when the container has been returned, the refund mechanism, you know, is not straightforward. A lot of the times, when you have to pay the deposit, you pay it upfront. But when the refund has to be done, it has to be done maybe after a week, after 2 weeks, and it takes a bit of time. That is money locked in there, you know. So all of these things are issues that are of concern to shippers. Okay. There's also the issue about high demurrage. And you mentioned, you know, the demurrage rates that we have had over the period have been quite high, you know.
And that cuts across all the shipping lines, or just
largely yes.
You would single out it?
No, largely yes, it cuts across. You know, and our own research has shown that in 2016, for instance, you know, just for that year, 2016, we paid over $96 million in demurrage.
96 million.
You know. And so, again, in one of those engagements, we all realized, no, this is getting out of hand. Yeah. And of course, they would insist, the shipping lines would insist that they are not interested in demurrage per se. But if the shipper were able to clear their goods and release their container, I mean, there would not be demurrage in the first place. And so, you know, we decided to come to a certain understanding and collaborate to educate shippers. And so throughout 2018, we did a nationwide stakeholder sensitization. I mean, and I'm glad to say that SWAG itself was very instrumental in that process. Of course, as well as GIF. Yes. And so we were able to deliver some very good results. The last check showed that in 2018, the demurrage rate, or the demurrage total, had reduced from the 96 million to 56 million, which is encouraging. We are not attributing it entirely to the nationwide sensitization, because you would understand that over the period there has been some very
government interventions,
very good interventions, which also has attributed to that level of achievement. And so that would be our assessment of the situation.
Okay, so the demurrage that you've together been engaging in educating and therefore reduced it by 40 million, for instance, aside that, the others that you talked about, the exchange rate, the varying rate of exchange, and the non-working of weekends, the mechanism for return of containers, refund system, what have you been able to resolve some of them on the table?
I would say, I wouldn't say we have been able to resolve them.
They're still pending.
These are issues pending. These are issues that are still pending.
Let me take Mr. Akron. You are coming from the freight forwarders. How do you also engage the shipping lines?
Basically, we deal with them on a daily basis in our business because, like my brother Adam said, they carry the stuff to Ghana. We do the customs brokerage part of it, so definitely we're always engaging them. So, like you said, it's all about the ease of doing business, and then also my brother mentioned costs. So basically, this is all we try to avoid, because in my position, what I try to do for my client is that to make sure that I get the stuff to him on time, that the stuff come in the same state, and also that they come at good cost. Okay, so at the end of the day, we all go to the same market, and if these costs are high, they are transferred to us. So what we're looking at is how we would, would have the ease of doing business and then bring down costs. I think my brother from Shippers Authority, as Fred has, enumerated quite a few things, and it's very important to note. Now, this comes in stages. There are things that, customs can do in connection with the shipping lines, and also the things that he's mentioned, the things that can be done, and we can look at them. The first one that comes to mind, basic, is the decoupling of goods release from customs compliance. It is major. Look, there have been several complaints about why business in the port does not start in the morning. That you go there at 9 o'clock, the place is dead, it's quiet. Why? Because of the cycle that we have. Now, if you look at the whole paperless process, it is the shipping line part alone which has a certain gray area. Because you would remember that in the paperless process, there were two documents that the Vice President mentioned, which should be the only documents that the bill of lading, which of course is a legal document, which would have to take to the shipping lines to pick up our goods, and the waybill from the Ports Authority. Okay, so let's come to the bill of lading part. What happens when we do a declaration and we pay duties? Customs, it goes through customs compliance. Until customs compliance is done, the shipping line will not release your goods. Why should that be so? I have a contract with the shipping line to carry my goods to Ghana. So once I come into Ghana, I have my bill of lading, I walk to them, they should give me a release. It shouldn't be tied to customs compliance.
Okay.
Exactly, because I'll give you a specific situation. If you do a declaration on Friday, say 12 o'clock, and pay your duty, forget it. You have given 3 free days to the shipping line for demurrage. Ask me why. The port is operating 24/7. If he closes, if he stops release at 4 o'clock, you're finished. So you'd have to wait necessarily till Monday morning and begin the release process.
And this is because?
This is because you had to wait for compliance from customs, which shouldn't matter.
And customs, don't they work Saturday and Sunday?
Now, they will work, but the shipping line is not working on Saturday and Sunday.
So even if you get your compliance ready on Saturday, you still don't get it.
So on Friday, if by 4 p.m., I mean, you're not at the shipping line, you say, okay, give me my release, then forget it. Because then you have to wait till Monday. And on Monday morning, and pay the mortgage. So that's free. Okay? So that is a very major matter. And we spoke about this during the paperless process. It is no more necessary. All the technology that we have now with CCNet, the shipping lines do not need compliance to release. That is one. So now we come back on the issues of containers. And he talked severally about the exchange rate matter. Okay? So there are differentials everywhere you go. Last week, if the exchange rate was 5.2 something, 5.3, there's one shipping line you go to that had this exchange rate pegged at 5.8. Now, I agree with the argument that the Bank of Ghana says that, look, it's a free economy, so the figures that they give us, the rates that they give us are kind of indicative, okay? So you could just look at it and say, okay, I'm pegging my rate at this.
Is that what the BOG says?
I'm not. This is on advisory that it is indicative. So that is why you go to, I'm sure you go to 2 Forex bureaus and find that my rate is 5.41, my rate is 5.42, okay? So there's no standard rate. But the scary part is this. Where does it end? If I'm telling you the one shipping line was at 5.8 last week.
Wow.
Now, this is the scary part because what it is that, although we're talking about a free market, if I come back to this country, if I use one particular shipping line A, I am stuck with them. I mean, I don't have the freedom to go to another shipping line and say, this is where I'm going to release my cargo.
So why don't you have that liberty to do that?
Well, because they brought in my goods, so they hold my bill of lading. So
for that particular consignment.
Exactly.
But sometime you may change the shipping line.
I can change the shipping line from there, but when I get here, I am stuck with them. So I am stuck with whatever rate they give me.
Yeah.
And if I do not pay, they are not going to release my cargo.
Yeah.
So that is also a very major factor. The other thing is the one on the return of the containers.
Yeah.
So if you're not returning containers 24/7, if I bring in a box on Saturday, or Saturday evening, there's no way the depot is going to receive it on Sunday. So I've given them one free day. Okay? On Monday morning, despite the fact that I have a deposit sitting at the shipping line, I will still have to go to the shipping line, raise an invoice, pay for that extra demurrage before I can even take off this container box. And then go back and then wait for a week, 2 weeks, and sometimes, as we speak now, a month for your deposit that you have put there. Now, you can imagine if there are 500, let's say 500 people, for one particular vessel, for this particular line, and we all have these deposits sitting in the shipping line's account. Now,
that's a lot of money.
A whole lot of money. That is money that could have poured into business. So we should look at options. There are things that can be done, and I think we're going to sit down with them and look at the options, whether we can do. We have bonds, as standard trading conditions like insurance covers, and see how we can, manage that situation.
Okay. So, Mr. Ayana, you need time. You talked about time, that the importers, the shippers, the consignees ought to sort of respect time a lot and all of that, and also the facilities have to go with time. But it seems from GSA and from freight forwarders, you're also taking some time away. Weekends, you're off. You don't start as early as possible and all of that. If you can address some of the issues that they have raised, and then we can look at where we are going forward.
Just to start, are you saying that we don't start early or we don't come on weekends?
You don't come on weekends.
Okay.
And then the issue Eddie, for instance, talked about, the 9 a.m. not starting. That one I'm not sure is just you. That business at the port don't start until 9 a.m. I don't know if it was Eddie or yes, Eddie who said that. So all of that. Do you start at 9? Do you start earlier than that?
I know where this conversation can go. So let me start by addressing some fundamental issues.
Go ahead.
In the first place, the shipping agents or the shipping lines are private businesses. And in private businesses, you work according to the dictates of your trade.
Mm-hmm.
When did the port start working at the level of 24/7? Like you rightly stated, MPS just started in June. Right. So now, at one level, some people will say the shipping lines are charging so much, or certain costs are high. at another, and this is under working from Monday to Friday, right? We have to pay salary, we have to pay for whatever, office, whatever, because if you have to stretch it, you have to have the full complement of your staff. Now, if we are going to extend to 24/7, then obviously it comes with a cost. And somebody will have to sit down and discuss this, because we have to agree that it's going to come with a cost. You cannot work your staff 24/7 because the laws of the country even does not permit that, right? You have a certain number of hours that people can work up to.
No.
Now you talk of the shift system.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That will come with a cost. So I'm sure these things.
No, but once you are in a business that runs 24/7, and you engage in that business that runs 24/7, you, as a matter of fact, have to also factor the cost that comes with running staff for 24/7.
Our vessels run 24/7. It's only the offices that don't run 24/7.
And it's the administration that we're talking
about. But at the end,
it's the offices that we're talking about.
At the end of the day, right? I come and I give somebody 7 days, because all the importers, everybody cut across, has 7 free days to take delivery of their cargo. Then the question is, why are they not being able to take delivery within these 7 days? Let's even say 5 days. Yeah, why are they not able to take delivery within the 5 days? And I have to come at extra days.
Does the 7 days include your include a weekend?
Yeah, it does.
But you're not working weekends, so where's the 7 days coming from?
Are you telling me that I should take out the things from the container on weekends and then put them back on Monday?
No,
that is the trade, and it happens. Let me tell you something, Sam. The bottom line is shipping is not a local business; it's an international business, and all across the world, right? Container demurrage does not stop on holidays or does not stop on weekends.
That's exactly
right.
what we're doing.
So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is best practice elsewhere, or what is happening elsewhere? When did MPS or when did the port start operating 24/7?
When did it start?
I don't know.
But you've been around the business, so you should.
Because our vessels work 24/7, I don't know when
no,
they actually started
the offices. Process. I mean, I know that customs, I think around 2014, they're about 2015 or so, this business of working 24/7 came, and they've been doing that. No, and then the Port Authority has also been working 24/7.
Oh, please, customs doesn't work 24/7. Let's be clear on that. For the period hold on, for the period that you're talking about.
So when did it start? Then it means you know when it started.
Hold on, 2014, customs started a pilot project.
Yeah,
right.
And never since
it's been. Hold on, and the shipping lines opened on weekends. And what we did was sometimes on weekends you open and only one person will come.
Yeah, I remember you complained sometimes.
Yes, and we did the statistics and we said it doesn't really make sense. So if it has been reviewed, let's sit and discuss. It's our big issue.
How long does that have to take? Because people have been complaining. People still want the weekends.
People are complaining to who?
That they want the weekends.
They are complaining to who?
They just mentioned that they need weekends. Eddie just mentioned that.
Hold on. Who are the people? Our customers. At least two. Who are the people? Our
your customers, and that includes
who are the people? Our customers.
Your customers.
So if our customers have challenges, where should they go to?
I'm sure they have complained to you. He mentioned that this has been on the table for a long time.
I'll say this one.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, I come from the old school. I'm away from it. In 1984, between 84 and I started this in Takoradi Native. You know, the whole of Antrak was run by 3 people. The agent, Mr. Menza, you know, God bless his soul, and to his secretary. They were the only ones in that office, the whole of Antrak, for about the next 5-6 years that I could think of.
I see.
Because it was basic. Okay, they were doing their ship husbandry. That doesn't matter to us. But the thing was that we walk in, I want my release of goods, and then that's it. So if it doesn't have to take the whole office, the whole of,
one of the shipping
lines to say that, I mean, we want to do everything, so we have to bring all our workers to work.
I mean, you run shift to bring 1 or 2 of them to show up.
That's it. So if they're there just to do that, and that is why I am so insistent on this matter of decoupling releases from
the compliance.
Eddie,
please, I have Monday to Friday.
Eddie, I'm not gonna. You are taking the wind out of the sail. Okay. At the end of the day, right? Like I stated, this is private business. That is fine. So if we have to change anything, we have to look at the dictates of the business and see whether it makes business sense or commercial sense. Because our customers, I mean, serving our customers is very critical to us. right? It's very important to us. We want to give them the best of services. So for me, if anything comes up, it's an issue of sitting down and talking about it and let us reason it and seeing whether is this something that we should go for or is there any other way? Like we're talking of decoupling, we didn't couple it, right? It's by an order or whatever, one of these customs rules.
That put the system
right?
together.
So if you decouple, like Eddie said, right, you bring your bill of lading and then we exchange, right? And those are some of the things that we could be looking at. I promise you, if today I tell any shipping line to look to open 24/7, they would have to make a business case of it. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm saying that...
No, but business case also having the customer in mind.
Yes, but what is business case?
Yes.
You have to have the customer in mind. Otherwise, it doesn't make commercial sense or business case.
And the customer has been complaining.
And I have to have my staff also in mind. And I'm not going to overload my people. And Eddie, in Amtrak during '89, I don't know how many boxes that Amtrak was receiving.
I knew you were going to make that argument.
But at the end of the day, shipping has changed.
Okay.
I agree with you.
It has changed. And like you know, there are so many areas within it before, within a certain setup, before you would be able to release cargo, right? There is even the bank that comes in, right? There is somebody who has to make sure that the right bills of lading are coming. They are being exchanged for. There are people like that, right? So even if you are not going to have your full staff in, what I mean is you have to bring a string of staff, and that is cost. Yeah. And if the business is going to be able to bear that cost, why not? The shipping line will do it.
And do you think we have gotten to that stage where your line should be considering to do this? Because the demand for services over the weekend is there and people are demanding it.
My brother, just last week, I think I was in a meeting with MPS also and the ports. And what did I hear? What I heard was they are open 24/7. Nobody pops up till about 11 a.m. and everybody rushes in.
Exactly what I was saying.
Right? Nobody pops up till about 11 a.m. and everybody rushes in. So when something happens, when something comes up, like this 24/7 you're talking about, let's just not shout that, yeah, the port is opening at 24/7. And let's look at the whole chain. What are we doing from 8 o'clock? That is the normal time of opening hours for most business, 8 or 8:30 to 10 or to 11. Releasing. What happens then? No, I'm just saying what happens then. If we can close that gap, we might see that we don't even have to go into the weekend. Probably. Right?
No, the one you referred to, you were referring to the time period, the weekdays or the weekends?
I'm talking of the weekdays.
Okay.
I'm talking of the
now
weekdays.
Put that aside. With the weekend and
the weekends,
so the weekends.
I wouldn't sit here to say that it's feasible or it's not feasible.
Why?
It has to make business sense. These are private businesses. I can't tell someone to open tomorrow. To open 24/7. It has to make business
because
sense.
the reason I shudder to agree on that one is that you raised, and I think
the
time factor is of essence.
Exactly. So
and I know 1 second. Then if you are demanding that people obey time, and the people say I have shown up on Saturday, nobody is there to take my job. I've shown up on Sunday, nobody is there to take my job. Yet you have given me 7 days, limiting me that I have to come for whatever it is within 7 days. And if I don't show up, you punish me for it. But yet I show up 2 out of the 7 days and you are not available.
Let's look at this 7 days, please. Yeah. Let's look at this seriously. Let's look at this 7 days. What point does the shipping line start counting?
Exactly. That's what I was asking. Where he said that weekends are part.
So
that
now,
means
so now I'll
Monday
tell you
to
this.
Monday.
You imagine what happens if a vessel arrives on Friday. You have all the shipping lines using the date of arrival of the vessel as the time for to start counting these 7 days. So if your vessel arrives on Friday,
Eddie, be careful.
No, I am being very
be careful being using all because everybody has a different model. Okay. That's why I'm saying that they are private businesses. Some might use date of arrivals. Most would use date of discharge.
If not, let me tell you.
I think we've had that engagement.
Yeah, exactly. You know why? You know why I'm going at this way? Because there is no shipping line now that you walk into. If the vessel arrived today, who would give you an invoice to pay?
Are you serious?
Yes.
But you don't walk to the shipping lines to take invoices. Look, I hear most of them.
You go by mail. So you get them by mail, but they would only give you the invoice when the vessel has finished discharging. Okay. So if a vessel arrived today and it takes 2 days to discharge, it means I can only get the invoice on the day you know, of final discharge.
Eddie, I'll challenge you on this.
No,
I'll challenge you on this.
I agree with you.
No, you know why I'll challenge you on this?
Can
no,
I finish with this
no,
one?
No, no, no.
You
I
let me
wouldn't let
finish.
you go. No,
I have
go.
to.
I'll challenge you on this. You see,
Okay,
these are some of the
Hannah.
things that we throw around.
No,
Just
no,
like
no, no, no.
24/7, and we are ready, blah, blah, blah.
My brother, I'm
These
in
are
the
some of
business,
the
so
things.
I don't throw it around.
Because the shipping line has something, apart from demurrage, that has to be based on certain number of days, etc. The other charges are standard. The other charges are standard. And I know most of the shipping lines that I know, I mean, that I've deliberated with, they send you your invoices even before vessel comes. But some are very cautious, because at the end of the day, in shipping, if you give someone an invoice and the container also is not dropped, it could be used against you. Commercially and everything, legally, it can be used against you, and GSA can bear me out. So, you know, sometimes it's the chicken and egg situation.
I want to find out, because we're looking for a bit of solution. We can't find everything here, but some bit of consensus. Is it not possible that as immediate as possible, we should make it a priority to look at these 2 weekends?
Which 2 weekends?
The fact that you are not working on Saturday and Sunday.
I think we should look at other things before we get to
like what?
Saturday and Sunday.
Like what?
We should look at people working on time from 8 a.m. to 11 o'clock. Let's close that gap.
But
and we'll see that we might not need it.
I don't think
if a vessel comes on Friday.
I don't think, just get this analogy, I don't think that we can force people to walk into the bank at 8:30 a.m. They choose to come.
But we can force people to work on weekends.
I mean, the bank's open at weekends, so as a customer, you choose when you go there. And you have to probably fine-tune your, okay, maybe Saturday, Sunday, I will only put 1 person there. Or if you think that people don't show up on Mondays from morning till 9 o'clock, instead of using 3 of your staff, you use only 1 person, because you know it's not a peak time. And then you take about 3, 4, 5 people to the peak time. So if people are demanding that, aside whether I come Monday to Friday, you see, no, but, like you mentioned, you demanded that they work with time. Now they are also saying that you should also work with time. I'm sure that
if we should work with days, not time.
Days. You know, Fred, Uncle Fred. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I think this is a subject that our colleagues from the shipping lines should be open to.
Yeah. They shouldn't close their doors to it.
I think this is a very important subject.
Yeah.
And, you know, when Ayana asks the question about who is complaining,
yeah.
I mean, I think that perhaps it is not very fair, because this is a call that has been made a number of times.
Okay, but by who?
By the shippers. By the shippers. I mean, there is this platform.
And you speak for the shippers, right?
Exactly.
So if they are making the
and I wouldn't.
These challenges.
I don't think it would be exactly accurate to say that we haven't tabled an issue like this in our engagement with SWAG.
I don't remember the last time I joined you in any meeting, though. I don't know if you've tabled it, but I don't see why we are belaboring this point, because what I've said is, if it makes business sense to the shipping lines, they would definitely open. And at the end of the day, the shipping lines are there to serve their clients.
Yeah.
So why should this become a Tony issue? That's why I'm saying that who has complained? At the end of the day, if I'm a customer to a shipping line and I'm coming to you and I'm telling you that, listen, I need to do business because maybe you come on Fridays or Saturdays or whatever, and I want to take delivery of my cargo and I don't get you, definitely there will be some solution one way or the other. I don't think this is a sticky point that we should stick to.
No, but because
all I'm sitting here, all I'm saying is these shipping lines or shipping agents are private businesses.
Yeah.
I cannot sit here today and say that they are going to open 24/7, etc.
Yeah.
So they have to evaluate the situation. And then,
then therein lies, you know, if we can't let things lie fallow. So it's like, if we leave it that way, I understand where he's coming from. Okay, he's a SWAG, vice president. But the shipping lines, we're saying, they are private businesses. So how do you get them? Is there any way you can, bring them?
I'm coming to that because we have to move to the other 4 challenges now. The shipping lines. Yes, the shipping lines. The shipping lines. Who regulates them? Can they just say that I'm a businessman? I choose not to come on Saturday or Sunday because it doesn't make business sense to me, and everybody has to mute and listen. Or somebody can just crack the whip and say, no, you can't just sleep. Get up and go to work. Who regulates them, Mr. Esiluda?
Well, I would say legally.
Are they regulated?
Legally, on paper, GMA, the Ghana Maritime Authority, is supposed to regulate.
Okay.
Yes.
Can the Ghana Maritime Authority then say that, look, we have gotten all these concerns and we need you just the way you need importers to be on time, we also need you to come so and so days?
I would think that, you see, and that is, I wouldn't want us to wade into another subject, you know, regarding the appropriateness of that arrangement or not. But what I think I would do is that it's a subject matter that perhaps we need to bring to the attention, that this is something that, but in any case, that notwithstanding, I would want to say that the Ghana Shippers Authority has a very workable arrangement with SOAG.
Okay.
We may not be clothed with the powers as of now to attempt to crack the whip. However, all of the issues of commercial interest, all of the issues that bother the shipper, who again is the ultimate, you know, bearer of the burden, you know, are issues we bring to the attention. And I would say that it is something we're working on, and thankfully there's goodwill around the table.
Okay.
You know, in terms of the discussions. So all what we require is to be able to come to a certain understanding. Currently, as we speak, I'm sure you said we'll be going to the other issues, but one key thing is that there should be a certain standard, okay, a certain minimum or common standard on operations, quality service.
Who sets these standards?
This is a standard we need to agree with the shipping lines. We have done some study, we have brought to the attention in the last engagement in terms of what outcomes that we have come out with, and then how we intend to engage them. Because again, some of the issues, SOAG will tell you these are commercial issues, and so you can't discuss at the SWAG level, you know. And so, but we tabled it at the last meeting that we're going to have individual engagements with the shipping lines, because if we're able to set all of this framework in place, I am sure that we will not be here fighting over who should regulate them or who should crack the whip, or, because in any case, I mean, there will be understanding in terms of what must be done, and there must be, you know.
When do you think that such a framework will come out? Because the more we wait, we'll continue to run lower when it comes to ease of doing business.
We have indicated
we just witnessed one moving all the way from 114 last year to 118 last year. When do we get some of these frameworks to move better and make doing business very easier around the ports there?
Unfortunately, you know, this last quarter usually is the peak period. And it's a very busy time to want to go into some of these issues. And so the understanding we came to the last time was that these are issues we intend to roll out in the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
In the first quarter of next year.
Okay. Okay, Eddie.
We need to do this ASAP. The thing is that
you can't wait.
These things have been hanging around too long, my brother.
Is it too difficult to send a letter and say that, okay, we work Monday to Friday, and so you should come Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then Saturday
I have a file sitting in my office, and these are letters that date back years from the times of, you know, former president like Frank Sapon's days. He gave me a whole file of letters that had been written to shipping lines trying to resolve these issues. Believe me, till this date, we're still having these issues, and even more. Because, I mean, right now, this issue of, I mean, talking about, you know, when the demurrage day starts, I just made a very, you know, simple analogy. If the vessel arrives on Friday, there is no way. So then you have to start counting your 7 days from Monday. But it is not so. And my brother Adam was disputing that. It is true.
Okay.
So you have already lost 3 days. So it means you have only 4 days in that week, and then you're finished.
I think we have made that clear that this is a problem. The problem Mr. Ayano also raised about people working from, why your people, and you work for the importers or the shippers,
yes.
Why don't you start work early enough? Why do we have to beg you to come to work and you show up at 12?
Sammy, I just explained this to you.
Sammy, before Akon comes in, let's get something straight. You see, we sometimes make a whole lot of noise, or we talk about things in just, you know, we just throw things out there. when I started, I said that the shippers or the consignees are customers to the shipping line. And like Fred rightly stated, there are engagements that goes on with between SWAG and Ghana Shippers Authority. So if there's an issue, you have to sit around the table. I pinched myself when you started using the word regulations and crack the whip. And I find I'm very sad to even hear that.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, is Ghana all about regulations? Should people be regulated before they will do the right thing?
Of course, the system needs to be regulated.
Listen.
But if you leave people to act on their own, they go sleep.
Sammy.
No. If you leave people, we have always been telling people, don't put refuse, don't put plastic on the floor. People are doing it. If there is regulation that you drop it and we ship you, people will move.
Yes, but what you should also understand is that you are dealing with commercial business. You are not dealing with what do you call it? I don't even
street people.
Yes,
but
street people.
That's what
so
regulation doesn't mean force or against your will.
So what is cracking the whip?
Cracking the whip doesn't mean when somebody defaults something you have agreed on, which is a regulation. That is when you crack the whip.
Yeah, because when there's regulation, who is going to flout? When there are laws in a country, who flouts the laws?
That's why we are asking for the regulation.
I don't think from all what we are talking about here, the shipping lines has flouted any law so far.
I think that's
all the laws they will abide by it. So if you have people who abide by laws and rules, right, and even common sense to a very large extent, and there's an issue, why don't you sit around the table and talk about it? Eddie is saying he has a fat file, and Eddie is one person who can pick up a phone anytime and call me if he has an issue. But I would challenge Eddie to this demurrage startup time, etc. Because it has been a thing that we have spoken about.
I have this delivered to you tomorrow morning.
let me so back because of our time. Yes. Back to your matter. Why don't you work on time,
Mr. Jiman? As we sit here, I could just walk to that table and create an IDF, send a declaration. Technology. We don't have to. You don't have to see me
physically at the port.
So I have just told you why this happens. If we do not do that, you are not going to see anybody in the port in the morning. You realize now that you have people clearing at 12 midnight, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way our system runs.
You can sit in the office.
Now, if you do not decouple this thing, this compliance, because I could have released the cargo yesterday, or maybe on Friday.
Yeah.
So I could walk into the port on Saturday morning and clear. But if that thing stays, the compliance I have on Friday morning, I can only go to the shipping line on Monday morning. So there is no way I can start the actual clearing process until about 11 or 12. That is why you have that quiet time. It's no rocket science. I mean, we have set this 100 times.
It's from Monday to Friday. It's not Saturday.
That is what I'm saying. So it's a cycle.
Monday to Friday.
You know what I'm saying? So that is a cycle.
The reminder is that we're looking at the role of the shipping lines in ensuring ease of doing business around the ports and also facilitating trade and cost of doing business and all of that. Mr. Anna, the bit about return, the return of containers and the refund thing. Why is it that you collect your deposits all right, and when it's time for you to refund the money to them, it becomes wahala?
Now let's look at return of containers. Shipping lines do not own terminals. In other areas, when you pick up the containers from the port or wherever, you return them to the ports. But shipping lines will engage other private terminals, that keep my boxes in here because there was no space in the port. So at the end of the day, we can't dictate as to what the private terminal would do. We can only engage them, all right? So as to the return, there's very little I can talk about it. Return of containers, there's very little. I know an issue came to me one day where, I've forgotten, I think somebody had an issue. It was a very simple issue. And fortunately, I called the shipping line and they're like, okay, let's look at the case and then deal with it. And they dealt with it. I keep saying that everything comes with dialogue. Now, when it comes to refund, I don't know, but I don't know if it's Eddie himself or the president has called me on refund. And I find this very interesting. If I work in the first place, how many people are even into this refund business or they pay container deposits? Eddie will attest to me that the number is very small. Because
the container,
Why? No, hold on.
the number is very small because a lot of the clients and a lot of the agents have, I know they have deals with the shipping lines that they give guarantees, quite a lot. Now, when it comes to refund, if you pay your money, you pay refund on Monday, the shipping line has already told you that, listen, on refunds, I administer refunds maybe every 3 days, mid-week or something of the sort. So it's something that they've been told that this is how we administer it. But you can't come and pay a refund on Monday and then you come back maybe in the evening and you want me to give it to you. Did you alert me even that I'm coming? So it's an administrative issue.
They have to alert you?
No, what I mean is you come, you pay refund on maybe in the morning, right? Then you bring a container back in the evening. And then you come back in the evening that, I'm just using an example, that you want your refund. It's an administrative issue. The issue is
have we done just as soon as
I don't think so. I don't know. It's an administrative.
It would
I don't
ease
think
the
so.
business.
The 1 month is very scary.
I am telling you. So I'm going to show you messages on my phone.
If it's going beyond a week, then it's a challenge. What I know is most of the shipping lines that I've spoken to, they deal with this. I think some do refunds twice in a week. Some they have fixed days that they do refunds, and I think it's administrative.
But
so
you see, that is a problem. It is administrative. Look, and those who paid, I don't know the last time somebody said you cannot pay. In fact, there's this one time that I had some bulk cargo, and then I said, look, I'm not going to pay, the deposit on it. And then they said, okay. Then I had to bring insurance in, so I had to do an insurance cover. That's fine, but most of the importers do pay deposit. In fact, I brought a couple of invoices with me so you could see. So they pay the deposit. The thing is that you're told by the shipping line, you're going to get we pay deposits, we do refunds on, say, every Thursday. So if I brought in Monday, Thursday you're going to get it. I am telling you, this is not what is happening on the ground. So the evidence is there. I can just push all of this to my brother's office because I have situations right now. I have gone over a month. I have situations right now where they've gone over a month.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yes.
Eddie, I would like to see that. No. Eddie, I'd like to see it. You see, one shipping line, one of the issues. Also,
do we complain?
One of the issues that came up on container demurrage at refund, I think 2 shipping lines told me this. There were issues that they had with their with their clients. The clients now started complaining directly to them because they found out that, or the people came and said the shipping lines were too expensive, and the bills that the shipping lines was issued included the container, the container deposit. Yeah. And the shipping lines were like, no, hold on, but this money is not, I returned this money to you, so why is your agent also adding to the cost? Now, so what those 2 shipping lines started doing was, if we are refunding, then we are going to write a check in the name of the customer.
Now I'm going to address that.
Or unless maybe an agent has been mandated and maybe he's paying with check, then it will be written in the name of the agent. As to the delays and those things, for me, I think those things can be.
The delays are there; they can be ironed out. Let me address this issue of, these agents, these shipping lines saying they want to pay. Look, we all have issues. We don't have not everybody in the system is genuine or straight, so people can do stuff. But tell you the truth, half the time, what we do a lot of pre-financing for our clients.
The freight forwarders.
Yes.
Oh, so you've become a bank now.
Oh, we do. Let me give you, of course you're going to lose the jobs if you don't do it. Let me tell you, look at CocoaBoard. There is no, CocoaBoard does not give you any advance on jobs that you do. They hand you the bills of lading, bring the stuff to my warehouse, and then I'll give
Before they pay you?
Of course.
Okay.
So can you imagine if I pay deposits on like 50 or 60 containers, you're going to write a check to CocoaBoard who haven't paid me?
No, but then you should also be able to tell your customer that this is how it works.
No.
This is how it works.
So this is the point.
You don't carry a burden.
This is the point. The customer has the invoice. On the invoice, it says there was a 600 Ghana cedis deposit. The 600 Ghana cedis deposit belongs to you if you do not run into demurrage. So you take it back from the agent. You see my point?
Yeah.
So that it doesn't, because once he brought up this, I realized, yes, the mischief was being played, that this is what is happening, and that is why then they would want to hold the deposits and give it directly
No, I didn't say that is why they hold the deposits.
Exactly. So I wanted to clear that point, that we do prefer, and we pay, when I walk to a shipping line, half the time I'm paying cash.
I see.
Or I'm paying online, or I'm paying with my checks. Wouldn't you want to give me my refund?
Mr. Sidu,
just a quick one before. back to Ayana on the issue of the possibility of people, or that the fact that some agents are able to access, you know, the shipping lines, and they are able to now negotiate and all of that. I think that in an industry such as ours, we need to set systems, you know, to take care of the vulnerable. The person who does not know anybody, the person who doesn't have the kind of contact, you know, to pick a phone and call you and get some system. So we need to have systems that says that if I pick a deposit so and so day, I get my refund. And those systems need to be in place.
I think those systems are in place, Fred.
So
that's why the exception cases, I would like to see them. I mean, with these demurrage issues, I would like to see them because I think they are in place.
It's just that, like Eddie is saying, that probably you assume that it's in place, but it's not working.
Yeah, so you should just give me the...
My brother Adam was saying...
Be coming to you case by case.
No,
their relationship with you, they can easily call you.
Yeah, listen. Eddie is saying that he has a lot of things that he can show to me. So I'm sure he would pick. It won't be all the shipping lines. I'm sure you have some
personal case by case. So Adam was saying, and we'll deal with my brother Adam was saying that these shipping lines are individual entities, they are commercial entities. So if they find it's commercially viable to do certain things, so you realize that the difficulty is him solving all these problems. Are we saying now? What do we do?
Because they believe they are commercial entities.
Should we deal with them one-on-one? Because we can't.
No, we can't take the law. That's why I was asking about who regulates it. It's not about who will just get up and go and force you, just do something. But in regulating, you bring people together. This is how the thing should go. You take each other's side, and then you resolve it. Until we have that, people will have to do case by case. I know Mr. Ayana, so let me just pick up a phone call and then talk to him. But it has to be a system that even the one who doesn't know you can still get a job done. Let me ask about this exchange rate bit. Is it true that you decide what rate you give yourself, and what's the formula?
I mean the shipping lines. I can't speak to it, but all I can say is
there a formula? No. Is there a way they determine what rate they are using?
I mean, I don't run their businesses for them, so
I
don't
represent
know
them.
You represent them. No, but listen, the trade.
No,
listen, the trade in Ghana is such that I think, was it you who said it? If you go to one forex bureau, right, it's so much. If you go to another, it's so much. Bank of Ghana will also tell you so much. Yes. So I don't know the basis in which someone is using this.
That's what
I
wanted
knew the
to find.
Specific basis, maybe then I could speak to it. Because at the
so
end
you don't
of the
know
day,
the basis
listen, at the end of the day,
used for this.
No, I don't know. Because sometimes some of the shipping lines do. One of the things you should know is the time the vessel leaves. What do you call it? Some is the time that the vessel sails. They use the rate of exchange at that time. So that vessel is locked by their principal. This is the rate of exchange for this vessel. Some too is at the time that they dock. So you might see that maybe at a particular point in time, maybe there was a hike in the rate of ROE. Maybe it was 5 points, let's say 5.6, right? And then that would be 4 weeks ago. And then today, I'm coming to take delivery of a consignment from that same vessel. So they'll still use that 5.6, right? But I would agree that the shipping lines would never stick to the Bank of Ghana rates because you can't get that on the market. And everybody would hedge a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't know the levels.
If we have a formula that people can use, you see, now people are beginning to
make things
importers, and we have sat here. I'm sure you will ask me who, but we have sat here. People have been calling and asking, how do we get to know how much we are paying? Now, if I know that I'm using line so and so, and I know line so and so charges, this is the rate they charge, and this is how they calculate their rate. When I'm using them, I'm able to calculate and know how much I'm going to pay if I'm using this line.
Sammy,
but if that is missing, then we are working in space.
No, Sammy, you are not working in space because at the end of the day, the shipping lines advertise their rate. When you go on their website, I'm sure right now, even if you Google any shipping line, you would get their rates.
And their local charges.
Yes,
I'll tell you an interesting story.
No, it's there, right? But as to the rate of exchange, I wouldn't know. And even that, I'm sure you can get it on their website.
I'll tell you.
Or
no,
you
it's
can,
not.
you know.
I'll tell you an
interesting story.
The
fact is, previously, they would quote the figure in US dollar and then give you the exchange rate, and then you would find the final value.
Okay.
You know. We followed up, we picked up a few invoices, and we brought the matter up. Now, when you pick the invoice, you just see the quotation in dollar, and you see the quotation in cedi. It does not indicate Yeah. So if you don't go through the process of working it out and finding out, that's it. It's kind of, you know.
Or if you see it in dollar and see it in cedis, then you can extrapolate what it is.
What the rates they're using. In some cases, they show you the rate.
And then Mr. Siruda said this issue of, because it's an open market, and I've heard it quite a number of times. As a matter of fact, I think 2 years ago when the Vice President toured the port, that was the first thing I asked him, and that was his first assignment, that this business of deciding how much you are charging your rate and all of that against that of the BOJ is an open market. Do you think we can just leave it like that as a country? This one is not because of, they are not flouting anything, so they are right in their space, but do you think as a country we should just leave it like this? And how does that affect the cost of doing business at our ports?
I think that as a country we cannot leave it just like that. I think that as a we haven't come to the point where we can let things...
People just do price anything they want because it's an open market.
Yes, we can't do that. Even in developed economies, they put some levels of risk, yes, to ensure that things can go beyond this level. Things can go beyond, you know, there must be some form of regulation. I mean, we are not talking about a certain organization, you know, hitting the gavel and saying that you must do this or you must do that. No, that's not the point. But the point is that having come to a certain understanding, having engaged and all of that, there must be some ceiling, you know, some guidance. But in any case, for us as shippers, the point we are making is we need to have transparency. Look, the Ghanaian shipper, or like the shipper anywhere else, is not asking for much. All of what we are talking about in terms of cost and process and all of those things, they just want predictability. They want to know if I'm supposed to bring in this mobile phone from country A to Ghana, what are the things I'm going to be encumbered with? What charges am I going to pay? You know, so it gives them a certain sense of what their obligation would be, and then they can prepare to meet that obligation.
And Freddie, you said they don't know that?
No.
Wow, then somebody is not doing their work.
Exactly. I was going to tell you an interesting story. I was going to tell you an interesting story because I've been doing some rounds with Shippers Authority on this demurrage education, as I think we interacted a couple of times. Something funny happened. I'm not going to say which shipping line, but we had gone online and actually wanted to show proof why, you go online. This is how much they're charging for demurrage. This is when it starts. This is when it ends. So we did this. We printed it out, and one of the shipping lines reps was at this workshop, at this forum. Believe you me, by the time we're done, by late noon, when we went back, onto their website, this thing was gone. So if you go onto their websites now, you're not going to go find what exchange rates they're using for this week, and this is how much you pay.
And this is worrying. Again, I'll get back to the fact that I actually asked the Vice President about this. I keep saying this because we are the same people complaining that inflation, exchange rates, just dollar skyrocketing and all of that. But if we know that there's a way we can regulate it and we are not doing it, isn't that worrying, Eddie?
Samuel, there has to be regulation. We cannot just let it fly. There has to be some let me give you.
Not just in the shipping line space. Not just in the shipping, but there should be some regulation.
We can't just leave it be because they're saying that.
Because it's an open market. Even in China, there is a ceiling.
Sammy, let me say something. Sometimes you go somewhere and you hear a lot of things. Like I said, in the past, when we talk of this Saturday opening, etc., lines opened and they looked at a certain trend and they're like, this doesn't make sense, so we are not going to open. So if there's an issue of 24/7, all it is we can still analyze the system. It's very simple. I mean, you have MPS there, they have systems, etc. We can easily look at the numbers that is flowing through, the time and everything is there, and see whether this is something that should be done. We sometimes throw things around. I'm surprised to hear that someone is shipping his or her cargo and the person doesn't know how much the person is paying
locally
from the shipping line.
Freight he does. Freight he does. Yes. Freight is advertised. Freight he does. But
so are you telling me that when you go to the offices of the shipping lines, you don't have their rates even advert? No. That's asking you. That's the fair. Are you saying that you go to a shipping lines office, you wouldn't see the rates on their board or anything? No, that's the first place.
Are you saying that that doesn't happen?
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Okay. If
and you do it real quick because I think I'm running out of time. I'll just have to wait.
From the US now through shipping line A, are you saying that at that point, that shipping line will tell me when you get to Ghana, this is what you're going to pay. This is the exchange rate you're going to use. Is it that?
Oh, come on.
No, I'm asking a simple question.
Definitely. Listen, if I go and ship with shipping line A or B, and I said I want to know my charges up and to whatever, generally what shipping lines will do is, this is your freight rate subject to destination charges. Right? If you ask for the destination charges, they'll give it to you because it's available. You know, sometimes we throw things in the air and create unnecessary challenges. I'm surprised. No, as for this, I'm really surprised.
These are very serious.
I wish people were even on the. Oh, today is
Kwame Isaiah says,
like, I'll get someone to call a shipping line and find out what their charges just on phone, even not being a shipper.
You expect that they should be able to know?
They would be able to tell them.
But this is coming from freight forward. That is coming from Shippers Authority.
What hasn't come from? What hasn't come from?
No, and I'm not picking this up.
What hasn't come from there? What hasn't come from there?
Sumuyi Kwame Isaiah says, good evening to my boss, Miss. Okay, no, I think this is a previous one.
As a private.
No, actually, Mr. Zuma. It was last week. Good evening, bosses. Really enjoying your discussion the evening. This evening on the rules of shipping lines. My question is relating to the terminal. Why is MPS charging partial on stuffing on diplomatic containers? This is coming from Stephen Kuma, a Sharman official town. I don't think there's an MPS official here for this one. I don't know if somebody wants to attempt it. My name is Tracy. I'm an agent in Tema Port. Please, is it true when vessels arrive, the shipping lines don't give invoice until the vessels have finished discharging? Secondly, right? The weekend charges that they charge is cheating because they don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. So why should they charge? So services not rendered, we are not supposed to charge. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these.
I disagree that services not rendered. Like we said.
Oh, you disagree? I thought I've heard this time and again that if you haven't rendered service, why do we pay you?
Yeah, but I totally disagree with you. You see, this is why I'm saying we make a lot of noise for nothing. At the end of the day, when we were operating, like I told you, at one point in time, we did a test case and it didn't work. Now MPS opens in June. They have started 24/7. You don't just get up and also open up. Because
but you are charging
24/7. Yeah, but we're charging from day one.
But if you were charging from day one and you were offering service and now you are no longer offering that service, why do you continue to charge?
No, you're getting it wrong. What I'm saying is we did a test case and we realized that it doesn't make sense to open on weekends.
Okay.
Right now, it's a different dispensation.
But when you were doing the test case, you were charging?
Whichever way we will charge. Are you telling me that when the containers are on the sea on weekends we don't charge?
No, what are we talking about? I mean, I'm talking about the weekend in particular. You did a test and you were charging for the test, that period, and you realized
it's not that we're charging, it's the normal charge. The charges have been there.
But now you are not offering services on weekends, but you charge.
What do you mean by we are not offering service on weekends?
Do you work on Saturdays and Sundays?
Who has approached a shipping line? This is what I'm asking you. Who has approached a shipping line? The shipping line is like, I'm not going to open on Saturday. Or who has said that, open on Saturday, I have so many boxes and I want to come, and he will tell you that I'm not going to do it because of your one or two.
Eddie, have you done that and you haven't gotten the service?
It's all about dialogue. Yeah. What is the quantum? Does this make sense? We are just not going to open because
people are asking for it.
Exactly. We have to really evaluate it and see, is this feasible? Does it make business sense? I mean, I'll stick to that point. And if it comes to the fact that we have to operate, why not?
You do it. Okay. And here are some few messages. Please ask your panel, why is it that we don't manufacture cars as a country, but the amount we use to purchase cars from abroad is lesser than the duty that we pay in this country? So that's your point. This one says, why should shipping lines charge demurrage on Saturdays and Sundays whilst they don't work on those days? Samuel from Tema. The man should not tell us what he does not know on refunds. The shipping lines are not meeting their own time. MPS is now working 24/7 to enhance trade facilitation and also to reduce congestion at their port. But the challenge now is shipping lines are not working on weekends, even though they have been requested to do so. Have they? Therefore, freight forwarders are not able to release their cargo with shipping lines on weekends. in order to work at MPS on weekends to ease port congestion. This is coming from one Romeo. Hi, Sami. I am Kwame. Please tell your guest, Mr. Ayana, to speak to the issues and stop attacking the other lines. The other guest, he's paid to. I'm sure he's also explaining his point, and of course, that's why we sit here. We're trying to get all the issues, and then we'll be able to deal with them. So this one says, good evening, Ion Port. We wish shipping line should work on weekends and a little late as customs works on weekends. Also, can you or can your panel explain why some line charges are higher than others? Mr. Ayana is experiencing. Maersk is doing that side is not clear. Shipping lines charging higher than the others. Their charges, again, it comes down to regulations. Why the charges are different and varying.
You cannot regulate the charges. I would say that emphatically, because like I keep saying, you don't know their cost base. And these are private shipping lines. And that's why they are all not charging the same. And like Fred alluded to it, most of them also, their service levels are different. Yeah. And you see the noise that I'm talking about that will make some of the times. But it's somebody's concern. No, listen, so somebody's concern.
Don't consider it as noise. No, it's not. So it's an opportunity to let them know that this is how it's done.
I'm not talking about that. I'm referring to, I'm going to say something that some of the noises that I say we make. At the end of the day, now somebody is saying that MPS is working 24/7.
He doesn't know. So we take the opportunity to decongest
that's why we said, yeah. When did MPS get congested? You know, so
is that the situation? He doesn't know. He's watching, probably
MPS
doesn't know.
It's not even a quarter full for it to start talking about decongestion of. You know,
so there's no congestion at MPS, right? That's what you're trying to tell him.
From a land side.
Okay.
From a land side.
Okay.
Yes.
So good evening, please. How long does it take when a shipper requests for shipping agent manifest amendment separation? Daniel from Spintex. Can you answer that one for him?
No, that's not.
Yeah. So point of correction, please. The deposits are two: container deposits and detention deposit. The former is the one waived most of the time, but the latter is paid by almost every customer. Okay, shipping lines like Maersk are on record for keeping detention deposits for weeks and at times beyond the month. Has it come to your notice? No. It's coming from Paul in Tema.
No.
Okay. How about, please ask the shipping line rep why the need of customs compliance before a container can be released. Can this particular decoupling be fixed?
We have even applied to customs and appealed to them several times to decouple, because we have nothing to do with the actual customs clearance system. You know, at the end of the day, we exchange the documents.
So that should be fixed with customs.
If they can do it, we'll be very happy.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm sure that if we would need like 10 days to.
No, you don't need that.
Except that Mr. Ayana has taken his position. Yeah. I'm sure the rest will go on. And those who are listening and are aware that we are ranking 118 country as far as the worst country in doing business is concerned. These are some of the things.
Doing business in the port or
ease of
the country
generally. Ease of doing business generally. So that's why some of these discussions may come to you, and I'm sure it will continue elsewhere. Let's get the schedules of the vessels that are sitting in the port, those that are yet to come within the week, and those that are also at anchorage, and then we'll come back and wrap up.
France Port of Le Havre Supervisory Board has decided to grant General de Manutention Portuaire a concession contract for the construction and operation of the container terminal for the port's 2,000 berths 11 and 12. Port Handling Company GMP is a joint venture between Dubai-based port operator DP World and Terminal Link, a subsidiary of French shipping major CMA CGM. Under the terms of this decision, GMP will be responsible for the creation and operation of the container terminal located at the west end of Port 2000. Monaco-based Navios Maritime Containers has extended time charters of two 10,000 TEU vessels through 2024. In September 2019, the company agreed to
But you see, okay, there are tons of the messages that have coming. I'm sure that we'll be replying you. Some of those that are questions, those are comments, they will be sent to the shipping lines going forward. And we will also create another platform, because I noticed that quite a number of you were on their phone lines wanting to contribute. For the sake of time, we would have to push the rest to another time. We thank you for watching the program. In the meantime, Mr. Esiedudate, you have the last bite to tell us. Looking at the conversation now, some say we don't have a problem, there's nothing to resolve. Some say we need regulations. Some say these are the problems. Where do you think we can get a solution going forward? Because we have a country's economy to run.
Yes, I think we need to do further engagements. I think that out of those engagements, we should set some framework, a workable framework that, you know, we can apply in the industry. And I believe that the kind of arrangement, the working relations we have with the SWAG will be able to get somewhere. But the key issues of the exchange rate, the weekend work, and all of those things, I think that there are things we can bring up very quickly and then get some, even if it's on a pilot basis.
Who should initiate this?
We could initiate it as a Ghana Shippers Authority. Yes.
What about the GMA? You said they're supposed to have some regulatory powers or so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we cannot take them out of the system. But the point is, the GMA is supposed to regulate them.
Okay.
Okay. But these are commercial issues that we have developed capacity and working with the shipping lines.
Okay.
And so I do believe that it is something we could work even with the GMA if that is required.
How soon do you think we can initiate something on this?
We should, I think that we have our last quarter engagement coming up sometime in November, which is maybe later, third week, fourth week in November. We should have a meeting with them. Okay. And we'll be able to come up with something, I believe. Okay. Because, of course, with the facts on the ground and the issues that are coming up, some action needs to be taken.
Urgently.
Urgently.
Masedi.
Actually, the GMA, I think, has a law in the pipeline, which is...
Law?
Yes, some regulations in the pipeline. I don't know if it's gone to the parliament. We were having some, you know... It's hanging right now. We're having, anyway, so... But on my side, I will tell you the truth. We need the regulations. We cannot let... Although they are commercial entities, and I see the difficulty in my brothers, I think, because these are individual, you know, companies, and they have their own... But if we have to deal with them one-on-one, then we would have to do so, because where it's going out, there are issues that if I tell you now, I mean, it's a bit scary on charges, on fees. I mean, you see some fees on invoices and then come, you know, we're going into what, container cleaning.
What do you expect? What do you expect from government now, noticing that all these things are existing and we keep deteriorating as far as ease of doing business is concerned, and looking for money for the system as well?
ASAP, that number one thing has to be done. Let us decouple, you know, compliance from releases.
Okay.
Let's see the effects of it.
Sayana.
Yeah, there's a difference between ease of doing business and cost of doing business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, I think the shipping lines are there, and they would, as much as possible, want to also have a hassle-free environment to work in and also deliver the right services to their customers. And sorry, listeners, when I say noise, I mean because we hear it a lot. I mean, sometimes even we hear the words illegal, and when things are legal, we hear all those things. So all I'll say is, in business, all it takes is dialogue. And we are open because we are business people, we are commercial people, and we can always dialogue. And dialogue is the way.
Yeah.
Creating a lot of noise does not really solve anything, but creates more chaos. So dialogue is the way to go.
So we'll attempt to get the same panel again to deal with this, the continuation of it, because of the bash I'm getting that I couldn't pick your calls, and I noticed that it's coming from all quarters. We thank you for watching the program, and we'll see you same time next week. My friends.